This is Christopher Clay Rudd in Utah at the 4th Judicial District Court in Spanish Fork. A judge is presiding over arraignments. This is when a defendant appears in court to hear the charges against him and plead guilty or not guilty. Off to the side, Rudd is awaiting his turn. He is in court for failing to follow through on court-ordered drug treatment. He's restrained with handcuffs, but has no shackles on his legs. The courtroom has a bailiff and several officers. A lawyer heads over to speak with the bailiff and then exits the court with 2 officers. At the same time, another officer heads out of the courtroom. A woman from the gallery has walked up and is now speaking to the bailiff. None of this goes unnoticed. A warning here, what you're about to see is disturbing. Rudd just fell 18 feet onto a solid marble floor, the equivalent of jumping headfirst out a second-story window, in handcuffs. Take a look from the security camera in the front lobby. This bailiff instinctively tries to catch the defendant, just missing him. Imagine trying to catch a 160-pound sack dropped from an 18-foot height. That could be deadly. Well, Rudd is bleeding from his head, but seems responsive. Back in the courtroom, the judge keeps everything under control. Paramedics arrive minutes later and rush him to a nearby hospital. He has a broken leg and pelvis and a fractured skull. For this escape attempt, Christopher Clay Rudd is sentenced to 36 months probation. This is Leonid Grazer, who's on trial in Moscow, Russia, for the murder of his sister, Aradia Quarrel. According to the defendant, he was commanded by Satan to kill his 21-year-old sister, who he stabbed multiple times. Today, Grazer in the Shubinsky courthouse, behind the walls of a glass cage. This practice is rarely seen today outside of Russia to prevent dangerous criminals from attacking or possibly even escaping, which is exactly what Grazer is planning to do. It appears now that Grazer calmed down, but moments later, he somehow is slipped through the slats at the top of the bulletproof security dock. A gap in the video doesn't reveal how he did it, but if we look again, officers consider opening the box to stop him. But Grazer's way ahead of them. One officer strikes him, but he's not giving up. The female officer who runs over and presses a large button on the wall, calling for backup. Grazer's pants are coming off during the escape. The officer has a firm grip on Grazer's leg and is not about to let go. Then another officer arrives. At this point, these Russian officers are not playing around. As the taser comes out, he makes sure Grazer knows what's about to happen. Grazer finally had enough. After putting his pants back, Grazer will go on to make a full confession for the murder and said he had no regrets about what he did. This is Cody Kuhn, outside the courthouse located at the county jail complex in Boulder, Colorado. Cody has been charged with harassment, criminal mischief, attempted criminal exploitation, resisting arrest, second-degree assault against a peace officer, eluding police, and other charges. 2 years earlier, Kuhn was arrested and released on bond for those charges. But after he was hit with additional charges for theft and failed to appear at multiple court hearings, his bond was revoked and a warrant was issued for his arrest. Today, he's scheduled to appear for the official filing of his latest charges. And this time, he decided to show up. But it's possible he's unaware of his active warrant. And as he enters the courthouse, there are at least 3 officers there to greet him at security check-in. At first, he appears to be cooperating, But when the officers receive instructions to take him into custody, Kuhn gets spooked and makes a run for it. As the officers surround him, Kuhn bolts for the door. Several officers pursue the defendant, but he's too fast for them. Kuhn makes it to a tree line and disappears. An hour later, another officer spotted Kuhn on a bike, but was unable to catch him. A month later, Kuhn was located 45 miles away in Weld County, Colorado, and finally arrested. There were no additional charges added for fleeing the courthouse. 2 months after his capture, Kuhn took a plea deal to resolve his cases. He pled guilty to harassment, criminal mischief, and attempted criminal exploitation, and was sentenced to 4 years of probation and 18 months of work release. Prosecutors dismissed the remainder of his charges. This is Rashad Hawkins. He's on the second floor of the Meigs County Courthouse in Tennessee. He was just sentenced to serve time in jail for failure to pay child support. And before the deputies could detain Hawkins, he fled the courtroom. Now on the security camera, he hops the railing and is barely hanging on before he lets go. And the deputy appears not to follow. Keep your eye on Hawkins' legs as they dangle from the floor above. With nobody around, he hops up like nothing happened, running to the exit. People from the first and second floor come to check on all the commotion. And by then, Hawkins is long gone. He was on the run for just shy of 3 weeks until he was arrested over 200 miles away. In addition to the outstanding warrant from Tennessee, he was hit with a list of new charges, from criminal trespassing to assault on a police officer to resisting arrest. This is Corey Roan. He's been charged with possession of a firearm after a felony conviction, as well as resisting arrest. Roan has a lengthy rap sheet with previous convictions for gun possession, illegal drugs, and escaping from prison. He's in the third floor courtroom, which based on this footage, does not appear to have much in the way of courtroom security. Roan is speaking to his attorney when he apparently decides it's time to go.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Tell my wife. Get a deputy, have this guy arrested right now. You gotta run.
Roan makes a run for it. At least 3 court employees are in pursuit. He heads for the stairs. And reaches the first floor, where he takes off past an empty security desk. With the courthouse exit in his sights, there's just one deputy standing between him and the street. But Roan, who's 6'3" and 215 pounds, shows no sign of slowing down. Roan takes the deputy with him right into the metal detector. Roan makes it to the parking lot and escapes. A warrant's immediately issued for his arrest, but a few days later, he turns himself in. He's charged with escape and assault against the deputy. His case is currently pending. As for the officer, he suffered a gash to his face that required stitches, but was released from the hospital and made a full recovery. This is Tanner Jacobson, and to his right is Cody Howard, and they're in Chehalis, Washington. They are both dressed in prisoner uniforms and handcuffed as they appear on the third floor of the Lewis County Courthouse. Jacobson is in for charges of reckless driving and driving with a suspended license. Howard is in for charges of second-degree burglary, first-degree trafficking and stolen property, third-degree driving with a suspended license, and 2 warrants for failure to appear in court. Right here is Judge R.W. Buzzard. It appears there are no deputies in the room. Then Howard and Jacobson decide to do the unexpected and make a run for it. First goes Howard, then Jacobson. It appears this bystander almost goes after the escapees, but is held back. Judge Buzzard doesn't hesitate. You can see him ripping off his robe and going after the 2 men. They just made it out of the courtroom, but they're still in their handcuffs and sandals. Now in the third-floor stairwell. Judge Buzzard is closing in. With only one more floor to go, it's going to be a close one. After Jacobson takes a quick look around, he's out the door and gone. But for Howard, not that easy. Judge Buzzard caught up and captured him. Jacobson was later picked up a couple blocks away.
We were sitting there on the benches together, and he's like, I'm gonna run.
I said, what am I doing? What did I just do? I gotta go with it now. There's nothing, I can't stop right here. There's nothing I can do now. I'm screwed.
I only get like 4 blocks, and then I stopped. Like, I just stopped on my own. I'm like, what am I doing right now? It was just a split-second, like, decision. I don't even know why I did it. Like, I would be out of here if I wouldn't have ran.
They were both charged with second-degree escape. Reportedly, Jacobson was sentenced to 1 year and 1 day, and Howard was sentenced to just over 3 years behind bars. This is Callum Fittner in Bradford Crown Court in the UK. He's here to help support his 17-year-old friend who is currently on the other side of this door, and he's about to burst through and make a run for it. The teenage escapee you see was reportedly just sentenced to 21 weeks in custody for the theft of a mobile phone. But keep your eye on Fittner as he's about to press the button for an automatic door to open, leading his friend to freedom. First goes the teenager, then 1, 2, 3, 4 security officers chasing the suspect, and it appears Fittner takes a different route out of the building. The teenage phone bandit makes it out of the courthouse and is gone, and it appears that security officers lost him. And for Fittner, he walks out casually, hopping down the steps like nothing ever happened. The teenager was on the run for 2 days when he was arrested and sentenced to an extra 6 months in jail. For the escape, Fittner pleaded guilty to aiding and abetting his friend's escape and was jailed for 3 months. This is Joel Delgado. He is currently being brought to the Pulaski County Courthouse in Little Rock, Arkansas. He is brought into court to face multiple charges, including residential burglary and theft of services. Reportedly, during his arrest, he claimed he was injured, so he was brought to a hospital. Now the sheriff deputy is currently escorting Delgado into the courthouse to face his charges. But steps before they enter the door, Delgado loses his shoe, which just might be a distraction for his getaway plan.
What do you say, OJ? Hey, you see a shoe back there? Where is it?
With Delgado being in a neck brace and a wheelchair, it appears he can't walk, but he sure can run. Delgado then bolts across a street and down an alley.
Oh, I'm gonna catch you, baby. I'm gonna shoot your bitch ass.
The deputy seems to lose him and searches through the streets looking for the suspect.
Hey, can you call the police for me? Call the police for me. Hey, call the police. Call the police. Which way it go? Nah, which way it go?
Went straight through the alley and cut that way.
What you need? Your phone. My damn radio came out. Hey, huh? The wheelchair dude got up and ran. Yeah. I couldn't catch his ass. And my radio was in the way. I had my camera on though. The wheelchair dude. I couldn't catch him here. Tim had pulled off.
After no luck, the deputy makes it back to the front of the courthouse.
The wheelchair dude ran. He had a neck brace on and all that shit.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Didn't need that wheelchair very much, did he?
Hell no.
The deputy then meets up with his colleagues and breaks the news.
Dude ran, man. Yeah, where's my radio? Yes, he did. Dude ran? Hell yeah. What? He took off? Yeah, right straight up this street. Oh, yeah, man. What? You're doing the wheelchair, man. Dude took off? Yeah, the wheelchair dude. I don't beat the
However, the suspect's freedom was short-lived, as he was caught a few hours later, where he claimed he was injured and couldn't walk again. And now he faces an additional charge of third-degree escape. Reportedly, Delgado has pleaded not guilty to all charges against him. This is Jason Cordero. In the Rochester's Hills courtroom in Michigan, he was just sentenced to 90 days in jail for disorderly conduct and retail fraud. Now take a look around the courtroom. Something is missing: the court deputy. After Cordero was given his sentence, he was reportedly told to sit down and wait by the judge. And when this was happening, the deputy was just walking into the courtroom. And he decides he doesn't want to go to jail today. So he walks out of the courtroom. The deputy follows and picks up her speed. Now keep your eye on the top right of the screen. Cordero is out the door and full-out sprinting. He makes it across the street and the deputies try and catch up. It appears Cordero might have made it, but reportedly he was recaptured 5 to 10 minutes later in a wooded area. Cordero now faces new charges, including escaping lawful custody and resisting and obstructing a police officer.